I gained over 25 kilograms of muscle whilst in high school, and one of the most difficult things for me, and probably for you, is gaining weight. But I'm not here today to tell you to eat some like chocolate spread wrap or Nutella bomb or something like that, right? I'm going to give you some healthy snacks that are good for you and are also good for bulking. And I'm going to do them on like a little tier list. I've never used one of these before, it looks pretty cool, right? Now to start off with, we have peanut butter. Now, peanuts are not actually as good as you think they are. Nuts in general are not as good as you think they are because they aren't very bioavailable. That basically means you can't absorb the protein. So say you get like 10 grams of protein in this, for example. You're probably only absorbing about 2 grams. And most peanut butters add like, sunflower oil or seed oils or something, or added sugars or anything like that. And they are terrible for you. Please never consume a seed oil again. They are highly inflammatory. They are terrible for your health. I only eat meat, eggs, fruit, and raw dairy. And I had like a little burger patty from Burger King, and it was 100% beef, but they cook it in sunflower oil. And I noticed the difference. I woke up the next day and my head was sort of like I had a bit of a headache, right? My legs were cramping up a little bit, and I just felt a bit, like on edge, right? And that was just because it was cooked in a little bit of oil. And obviously you've got like peanut oil within the peanut butter anyway, right? You're just naturally going to get that. So if you were going to have any peanut butter, I would recommend this one called Pip and Nut. This is the best one that you can get because it has no, it says no palm oil. I don't know if you can see that, but it doesn't have any like excess oils. It just has the peanut oil, which is not fantastic, but it is better than like, Jif or something. You can get that in America or whatever. So to start off with, I'm going to rate that at I would say a B, because it's not terrible. It's definitely not the worst snack in the world if you get this type of peanut butter. If you get like the normal one that you get from the shop that's got loads of excess stuff in, then it'll go in D tier. But it's going to stay in B tier because has a lot of calories, it tastes very nice, and depending on the type of brand you have, it can be okay, but the protein quality is not quite there, the bioavailability. Now, I've spoken about protein quality and bioavailability many times on this channel, but if you want to get like advanced education, you want to know exactly what I'm talking about, you want to know about all these different things that you probably never heard about before on the internet, then they are all here in the school community, in this nutrition mastery course. This is the only course you will ever need. You will never need a single YouTube video again, so go check that out and learn from there. Now, moving on to cheese. Like almost every product in the world, cheese tends to have like artificial, flavors or like extra additives and stuff and preservatives or like that, like the stuff you don't want in your diet, right? You just want whole foods. If you can find real cheese, which is just cheese and that's it, then I would definitely put it in A tier. If you can get raw cheese, there's one called Parmigiano or Reggiano, and that is always raw. If you can find raw cheese, so it has not been pasteurized basically means when it's been heated up, then I would put this at S tier. Packed full of calories, packed full of protein, packed full of fat. Fat is very good for you. It is just the whole shebang. So if you can get raw cheese, then basically when it gets pasteurized and when it gets heated up, it just destroys all the nutrients essentially in like a simple way. And you don't want that, obviously. You want all the nutrients. So if you get it raw, it is S tier. If you get it whole food, just like normal cheese, but it can be pasteurized, then A tier. And if it's got like additives and stuff, I would put it in B tier as well. So I'll just stick it in A tier for now. Now moving on to yogurt. Yogurt is basically like the exact same thing. I mean, cheese is just like another form of yogurt, right? So if you get like raw yogurt, you can get like raw kefir and raw milk and stuff, which is like very similar. Basically all these type of things like milk, cheese, yogurt, all those type of things, they're all interlinked. So it's the same thing, right? So I'm going to pop in A tier. So if you can get it raw, then S tier. Whole food like this Greek style, Geo Valley, whatever, you put it in A tier. And if it has like tons of additives, it's got like the little school yogurts that you used to have, like monkey yogurts or whatever, like some random thing like that, and it's like strawberry blast flavor, right? You don't want that, right? That I go in C tier. So if you can get like natural, just normal one, then perfect. And if you can get the raw version, then whack it in S tier. Now moving on to bananas. A tier once again. They're an easy snack just to down like in 1 second, and then you don't even need to put the peel in the bin. You can just chuck it in the grass or something because it'll biodegrade, right? It's very good, but it doesn't have a ton of protein. It's lacking in that kind of sense. But it is a good form of calories, a good form of potassium, so energy, nice things like that, right? So whack it in A tier. Obviously, it's a whole food, so lovely jubbly, you don't need to worry about that. If it's organic, even better, put it to the top of A tier, but you're probably not going to pay for organic. I don't do that yet, right? So, moving on to dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is a difficult one because there's lots of different types of percentages. You've probably seen this before. So you have like, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%. Or you can get this 100% dark chocolate. I've had this before. My dad says it tastes like paracetamol, but I think it's all right. It's just very bitter. If you can get this 100% dark chocolate, then absolutely top of A tier. Take it. Actually, no, I'll put it behind cheese. But it is very good nonetheless. If you start getting below like 85%, that's when they have like a lot of added sugar and they have a lot of, maybe they have sweeteners and like just random stuff that they don't need to add, right? So if you can just get dark chocolate and it is just cocoa solids, that's normally what it says on the back. The more cocoa you can have in it and the less of the other stuff, then fantastic. So actually I'm going to put it down to the top of B tier actually, because you're probably not going to get the 100%, let's be honest, right? If you can, then fantastic, and it goes up to A tier. But you're probably not going to get that. You're probably going to get like 70% or something because you're a wuss, right? So put it down to B tier because normally it has lots of added sugar and it is processed a bit more, right? And we don't want that. We want the 100% just cocoa. If you can get cocoa on its own, it's got like lots of antioxidants. It's very good for health. But if not, then I would just whack it down to B tier and I would say don't eat it. If it's anything under 85%, don't eat it. Now, moving on to eggs. If you know me, where do you think I'm going to put this? S tier, baby. Eggs is like the perfect snack you can have, just like a hard-boiled egg or something. Absolutely perfect. You can bang it out in about 5 seconds, right? You can eat the whole thing if you want to, if you're like some weird guy like that. It is the most bioavailable source of protein. That and milk is like very similar. So if you're eating 20 grams of protein within an egg, then you're going to get that 20 grams of protein, right? And it's got a good amount of calories. It's got a load of fat. It's actually, the majority of an egg is fat, which is fantastic. Fat is good for you. It's high in cholesterol. Cholesterol is good for you. It's the precursor to all your hormones, for example, testosterone. If you don't have cholesterol, you can't have testosterone, right? So high cholesterol is actually good. So more eggs, the better. Eat as many eggs as you can. Most people say, 2 eggs a day is too much or whatever. You've probably heard your mum say that, like, any more than 2 eggs, and the fat doctors say, more than 2 eggs is bad for you, right? But they don't bat an eye when you're eating like 100 grams of chocolate a day, like an Easter egg or something, right? Just don't be silly. Now, an egg is the whole animal. You don't need anything else, all right? So you can have meat and eggs, and you don't need anything else. You've got everything. If you eat other things, then of course you'll need more vitamin C, because everything has all plants and stuff have anti-nutrients in them, which basically blocks the absorption of things like vitamin C, so you need more of it. That's why you can have like fruit juice, oranges, whatever, boost your vitamin C levels. But if you're carnivore and you're eating meat and eggs, then you don't need anything else, right? But if you are eating other things other than meat and eggs, which I guess you are, right, then eggs will give you the majority of your nutrients. They are high in calories, high in protein, everything, fat, you need it, cholesterol, lovely jubbly, the whole building block of an animal. Absolute S tier. But if you are consuming other things, then you'll need more vitamin C. That is the only lacking object, right? Now, moving on to bagels. Bagels, whack them in D tier. They are terrible. So you can actually, I don't think I've ever found a bagel that is real, like a real bagel, because they're all just full of chemicals. There's not much more to say than that. Like, they're just packed full of seed oils, additives, preservatives, all the bad stuff that you could think of, added sugars. And if you've ever felt a bagel, like, there's gluten-free stuff, right? Hopefully you're not like other gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian stuff. If you are, then that's your choice, but you are killing yourself because the chemicals they put inside these foods are ridiculous. I work at a shop in Sainsbury's. That's part of that's work that I go to, my job. And whenever we get like some free from, like free from gluten, free from whatever, barley, I don't know, I always like squish it dead hard. I probably shouldn't, but I always squish it, like the bread and stuff. And you know how in bread, it sort of like crumbles when you crush it? If you can imagine like crushing the bread in which it's all like flakes out and sort of tears apart a little bit. With all the gluten-free stuff and all like, the free from, it's just like Play-Doh. It's literally just like a squishy toy. Do you remember those like squishy stress-free toys or something? It's the exact same texture as that. I'm not even joking. When you push it in, it just bends inwards, right? It doesn't like flake or anything. And that's the exact same thing with bagels. So do not consume these as a snack. I used to, and it was terrible for me, and I didn't realize at the time. So please do not eat bagels for the rest of your life. That is just, you just shouldn't be eating bagels, right? Unless you're about to die. I mean, this will probably kill you faster, so just don't eat bagels. Eat real sourdough bread if you have to, but I'm talking about snacks in this video, obviously. So bagels, don't eat them. Now, protein shakes. it's kind of the same thing. I will whack it in C tier. The only reason I am putting it in C tier is because the protein that they use in there, like the enhanced protein, or so protein powder, it comes from milk, right? So if it's like a soy protein shake or a plant-based, then I would whack it back in C tier because you can't absorb that protein. However, if it comes from milk, then milk and eggs are the most bioavailable sources of protein, so you are getting a decent amount. However, when you eat other things, like all these chemicals and additives and stuff, they will block the absorption as well, so you won't be able to absorb as much as if you were just drinking milk, right? However, it's better than bagels, so I'm just going to put it in C tier. Please, like if you can make I used to do this, I made my own protein shake, so I would literally just put a banana, unflavored protein powder, which is just one ingredient, which is just whey protein, and then milk, and then that I'd bump it up to maybe A tier, right? But if you're consuming one from the shop, then obviously it's going to have a ton of additives, a ton of extra things that you don't want in your diet, so I'm going to put it back down to C tier. Now, flapjacky bars, they are good for calories because, like, there was this one that I used to have. I genuinely can't remember the name of it, otherwise I would have put a picture here. But it had like 700 calories in a bar, which most people will think, oh my God, 700 calories is, too much. But obviously, because you're trying to bulk, because I was trying to bulk, 700 calories is fantastic. You want the 700 calories, right? So they are full of sugar and full of chemicals like everything else. But again, I'm going to put it in C tier because of the calories. Calories are good. Calories don't necessarily matter. It's more, you should be basing your diet off of macronutrients, macro and micronutrients. So these are not fantastic, but if you still believe in the live, calories in, calories out, then they are a good option. But they have a ton of chemicals in, so I would not recommend them at all. Now, same with protein bars. I don't need to explain that they're the exact same thing as protein shakes. And finally, we've got nuts. So just plain nuts. If you have like chili flavored spike, whatever nuts, then obviously that's going to go back down to probably D tier actually, because you can't absorb the protein anyway. But for normal nuts, I'm going to put them at the top of B tier because obviously they don't have like the extra oils that peanut butter does. However, they are quite good. They've got a lot of them, for example, like walnuts and pecans and stuff. They have a ton of calories in them, again, if you believe in calories. And then they have a ton of protein in them. However, as I said before, you can't absorb the majority of the protein, which is not fantastic. But they have a ton of fat as well. Fat is obviously very good for you, as I said. So they are very good, apart from the fact that you can't absorb the majority of them. And that is due to things like phytic acid. Phytic acid basically just blocks the absorption of things. So you're trying to get these 20 grams of protein and the phytic acid blocks it from being absorbed, and then maybe only like about 2 grams gets through, right? So ideally you want to be eating animal-based protein because that is the most bioavailable source. Milk, eggs, cheese, meat, obviously. That's all you need. However, if you want to have a quick snack and a ton of calories and just keep you going, then nuts are not a bad option. I'm actually going to put them at the back of A tier. So that is my tier list. If you're going to go to school and just like grab a snack, don't be grabbing all like these protein bars and bagels and stuff. Head towards the top of these of this tier list and get these things. For example, just like a block of cheese, or you could take some yogurt with like some banana in and like a little pot or something. That'd be fantastic. And as I said before, if you want more advanced education that goes into detail in everything you need to know so that you are absolutely guaranteed to see results rather than all the other people who are drinking protein shakes and stuff and killing their health, then this is the place to go. My school community is the first link in the description, and I promise you it will be the best fitness investment you will ever make in your life. You will never need to watch another YouTube video. You will never need to watch my videos. You just need to be in this space. This is all you need right here in one place. And of course, if you've got any questions, then you can DM me on the platform and I will respond to you, giving you personalized help. So click the first link in the description. I will see you over there. Good night.